The cutting width on a serger is probably the one thing it takes a little bit to grasp. So on your sewing machine, you're used to adjusting your stitch width, how far the stitch goes from side to side. But on a serger, cutting width means how close or far away the knife is cutting in relationship to your needle. So sometimes you'll have less fabric left inside your stitch, and sometimes you'll have more. So to give you an example how we're going to start understanding this, I'm set up for a 3-thread. So I only have the right needle in at this time, and everything's just normal settings. Normal tension, normal here, and stitch finger is pushed in. And I'm going to go ahead and take this knife and go ahead and bring it all the way in as close to the needle as possible. So turn it until it stops, and let's just stitch along this edge. So this is a stitch that I see a lot of times people think that this is a tension issue, and you can kind of see where the threads look like they are sticking off over the edge. There's kind of loops kind of hanging off. But all it is that there is not enough fabric that was left to be cut in between these stitches. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the knife just a little bit this way to fill that in. You want it to be filled in but not too full. That's when it kind of rolls. And let me show you an example of too full. We're going to take the knife and turn it until it's all the way at the opposite side. So it's as furthest away from the needle as possible. And now we're going to stitch. So all this extra fabric is being asked to kind of be crammed into this little tiny space. All right, so now as I feel along this edge, you can kind of see it wants to tunnel, like it's not even laying flat. There's kind of a little lift, and even the tension is starting to pull up on the needle thread on the back. So that's where people start to think that they have a tension problem, they want to adjust it. And all they need to do is take the knife and kind of bring it back to that happy middle. So what is a happy middle? So the happy middle will be based on your fabric. That's why your book doesn't say what it has to be at. Every fabric and fabric thickness will vary. So it will always tell you just like a normal setting. So here's what I look for, and I'm going to just get this. I'm going to move it just a hair. There you go. I just want the fabric to kind of kiss the inside of those stitches. So it's still flat, and not with a little, I mean, this would be just fine, no problem, but I can feel when I made it just a little bit wider, it filled it in perfectly. If your stitches are nice and even, meaning they're not kind of spread apart or kind of oozing as the fabric's trying to sneak out, that's another indication you have it nice and perfect. So again, too much, not enough, just right. So don't be afraid to adjust your knife. Again, if I was to switch to a fleece, that's going to be very tall, especially 2 layers or 4 layers if I'm going over multiple seams. I'm going to take that knife and move it probably as close to that needle as possible because everything's going to fluff up and fill in that area. Too much to the side, that's going to leave a lot of those extra layers. It's just going to kind of, it might not even want to go through the serger. It might kind of turn into a ginormous mess. So adjust your knife based on the fabric you're working on.